So in this one, we're gonna quickly take a look at what's happened between the collaboration in Monster Hunter World Iceborne with the Monster Hunter movie. Man, I'm never gonna get used to collaboration between Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. Hey everyone, Pinoy here once again, back with another Monster Hunter video, and in this one we're going to be taking a look at the Monster Hunter movie collaboration that Capcom did in Iceborne and just get a better understanding how this collaboration actually ties into the movie storyline with regards to Monster Hunter. Now, bearing in mind this is a collaboration that Capcom did with the Monster Hunter movie, it could be considered as either canon or non-canon depending on how they approach the movie in its entirety. So we're gonna take a look at the premise of the collaboration story, get a better understanding how it all ties into the actual movie, and then just share my thoughts and opinions on what I think about the execution of this collaboration and how Capcom tied it to the Monster Hunter movie. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the collaboration first and foremost and just take a look at the premise of the story in its entirety based on what we've seen so far. Okay, so to get us started, let's go through the collaboration and how this ties into the movie and get a better understanding as to what's actually happened here. Now, I'm gonna try to describe this as best as possible because even in my head, no matter how many times I try to do it, this involves time travel and time travel can get very convoluted. So let's just go ahead and get through it. So first up, we get introduced to Artemis in the Wildspire Waste, but there is a twist to her introduction. This is Artemis from the future. She's already experienced the world of Monster Hunter. This means that this Artemis already has the experience of fighting certain monsters. Now, as we go through her adventure in Wildspire Waste, she takes on a Black Diablos, and after she defeats it, she is eventually introduced to the Admiral. Now, the Admiral and Artemis can't communicate with one another here because this is the Admiral of the past. This is before he learned to speak the English language. So there is that communication barrier between them. Now, as we go through their adventure, it is eventually realized that Artemis has been keeping notes in order to better understand the Monster Hunter language and eventually translate it into English. So she can't actually communicate with him, but in a very limited sense at this point. So as we go through our adventure in the ancient forest, eventually we get to fight the Greater RATHALOS. Now, the Greater RATHALOS is of the past here, and they eventually defeat it. Now, after the defeat of the Greater RATHALOS, Artemis decides to go ahead and give the notebook that she had to the Admiral so that he can study the English language and translate it into the Monster Hunter language. This is how the Admiral is able to communicate with Artemis in the movie, her past self, in the spoken language of English. So what this means is that Artemis, because she was from the future here, created a causal loop on how the Admiral can communicate with her fluently in the Monster Hunter movie. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea as to what's happened here. So Artemis of the future travels to the past, gives the notebook to the Admiral, and so Artemis of the past can communicate with the Admiral in the English language. Yeah, it's very complicated, but that's kind of how the movie ties with the collaboration here. Okay, so now that we have a better bit of an understanding, or at least I hope there is a better of an understanding there because this was very complicated to go through in the first place. Time travel can be so convoluted if done incorrectly, and please Capcom, don't ever do this again. Okay, I'm just messing around. If Capcom really wants to introduce time travel in the world of Monster Hunter, they are more than welcome to do so because they did introduce an Elder Dragon that can travel through a black hole during a solar eclipse. So they can do whatever they want here. Now, having said all of this, I'm a little bit conflicted on whether I should treat the movie as canon or non-canon because of certain scenarios here. On the one hand, the story of the Monster Hunter movie doesn't really feel like it ties into the video games because we don't exactly know when the events of the movie happen. Perhaps once we actually get to see the movie, it would give us a better understanding on the setting of the movie in terms of timeline. But until that point, it feels non-canon because I don't have an established timeline here. However, at the same time, the movie does utilize characters that we are familiar with in the video games. The Admiral, the field team leader, the serious handler, the handler, and even Aiden, the excitable A-lister, are all in the movie as of right now. So at that point, you can also consider it as being part of canon because it does have the characters from the video games in the movie as well. So all in all, I'm a little bit conflicted on what I should treat this as in terms of whether it's canon or not, and at the same time, I'm a little bit iffy with the whole time travel concept being introduced in the world of Monster Hunter. Now with all of that being said though, what do you think about the concept of time travel in the world of Monster Hunter, as well as the Monster Hunter movie as of right now. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts and opinions on the movie collaboration, as well as the movie as a whole as of right now for the Monster Hunter series. Now with all of that being said, if you enjoyed these videos, please consider leaving a like on the video itself and subscribing to the channel, as well as hitting that bell icon so you can go ahead and catch up on any future Monster Hunter content that I might be doing or any other games that I might be playing in future. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Onward and upward.